Hey everyone, it's Marco, and in this video I will be telling you about a platform that I recently discovered called Hedonova, which is really different from all the different platforms I've been telling you so far on my channel. So this platform is more like a fund, but for alternative assets. So that's why I really wanted to tell you about it, and that's what I think it made the platform really interesting. So first, let's talk about what is a fund, right? So usually, funds will actually invest into the stock market, for example, and basically manage money for investors. And on the other side, if you follow in this channel a little bit, you know that I've been investing myself personally into what's called alternative investments. For example, peer-to-peer lending, for example, real estate crowdfunding. So I've been investing on those assets via platforms, but myself, right? So I open an account on the platform, I invest over there, and I do that for many platforms. So basically, Hedonova is doing what funds are doing, but for those alternative assets. So basically, they will invest in things that I just mentioned, peer-to-peer lending, real estate crowdfunding, but also other type of alternative investments like cryptocurrencies, art, wine, for example, and a lot of different alternative assets that usually people don't invest in, or that usually people are picking one by one, but they invest in it as a fund. So I think that's really unique approach in the field, and again, that's why I really wanted to tell you about this platform. So as usual, I will be telling you about the platform itself. I will discuss about the security of the investors' funds on the platform, which is really important. I will tell you also about the returns that you can expect on the platform. And finally, I will share a bit about how to actually create an account on the platform, and also my own investments, my own experience with the platform. So let's start with the platform itself. I already told you it's a platform which is a fund that invests in alternative assets. So think of it again as investing in those assets, but without you having to manage the money. So it won't actually be for everyone. So myself, for example, I prefer to manage assets, one by one, and really have complete control over my portfolio. But if you want to invest in things that you usually won't invest in, like art, for example, or cryptocurrencies, and still get those high returns that I will tell you about in a moment, that might be a good alternative to actually picking those alternative assets one by one. So in terms of returns on the platform, they actually advertise returns up to 55% per year, which is really high compared to other investments. This is because they have in the portfolio things that can really have high returns, like startups, for example, which you will not usually invest in as an individual investor. So that also makes it really interesting as a platform. Still on the returns topic, they also claim to beat the stock market, which is made sense with such high returns. Also, you have to know, and that's also why I like personally alternative assets like peer-to-peer lending or real estate crowdfunding. It's usually not correlated directly with the stock market, right? So it means that even if something happens, if the stock market goes down, for example, things like real estate crowdfunding won't necessarily go down as well. It won't necessarily also have problems, because even if there is some event, people still need housing, for example. So those type of assets won't be as affected by news, for example, as the stock market. So it's really nice also to diversify your portfolio. As it's a fund, I wanted to mention here, still in the returns topic, that they actually have fees. So there is a 1% management fee per year. That's typical of large funds. And also they actually apply a 10% fee on the profits that you make on the platform. But again, with the returns of over 50%, that won't affect your return that much. Also, the minimum investments on the platform is $5,000 to open an account on the platform. So again, that won't be for everyone watching this video, but if you're looking for a solution where your money is completely invested in alternative assets and also completely managed for you, that again might be a good solution. So now with such high returns and also such alternative investments compared to usual funds, I really wanted to check the safety of investors' money on the platform. Let's first talk about the platform itself, the fund, and what they actually invest in. So all the securities that you will find on the platform are qualified as securities by the SEC, so the Security and Exchange Commission in the US, which is kind of the highest authority you can get in the investment world in the US, so that's definitely a good point. Also note that most of the assets that you invest in are actually backed by some collateral. So for example, real estate crowdfunding is backed by real estate, art, wine, for example, is backed directly by the collateral behind it, as well, for example, as they also invest in land. So same thing, the land is here as a collateral. So this really adds to the security of the platform because you know there is something behind what you are actually investing in. Now let's talk a bit about the platform itself, the company behind the platform, and the team also. So I like to check that the platform is actually a real registered company. I checked that it was actually registered in the US, and it was, so that's definitely a good point. I also check always the management team of the company. So for example, here I checked the two key people, which is the CEO and also the head of investment. So the first one is called Alexander Cavendish, which is the CEO of the company. And he worked before at Morgan Stanley. He has a diploma from the University of Zurich, so definitely a good point as well. So basically, this guy had been in investment banking during his whole career. Also, the CEO of the company, so the person in charge of really the investment and the fund, also worked in the domain of finance and investment for his whole career, for example, at Millennium Partners. So he is in charge of all the investment decisions at Hedonova, and definitely we can see that he has experience in the field. So just in terms of people, definitely a good point here. So next, I actually checked what they actually invest in, right? What is the thing that they have in the fund? So I mentioned before, they have real estate, they have peer-to-peer lending. So I wanted to know actually which companies they actually use to invest to all of that. And I was pleasantly surprised that I saw some names that I actually know. For example, Fundrise is a very large company in the US to invest in real estate crowdfunding, which I can't invest in, for example, as a European resident, but definitely a great company that I heard about many times. So definitely, again, a good point here for Hedonova. They're also very transparent about what they invest in. So again, they display all the companies that they use to invest via the fund. And also, they are quite diversified geographically. So you will really get investment all around the globe when you actually invest through their platform. So definitely a good point also for the safety of investors' money. So now, how to actually get started on this platform? So because they are regulated by the SEC, you can't actually just sign up directly and just open an account. You need to first fill a little form, and then they will actually reach out to you to check if you would be a good candidate for the fund. And then you can start investing. Again, remember that the minimum investment on the platform is of $5,000 at the moment. Just to note here, in terms of taxes, I didn't discuss that yet. Because of the structure of the company, you actually won't get taxed directly in the US. You will just pay taxes as you would do for any investment in your own country. So definitely a good point as well. And also, you can put money and take money out of the funds at any time, which is definitely also a good thing. So now about my own experience with Hedonova. So for now, I actually applied to be an investor on the platform. As I mentioned before, that's not usually what I do. I really want to do that, just review the platform to tell you more about the results that I will get from it. I prefer myself again to invest, to pick what I will invest in. but it's definitely a great option for people that just want their funds to be managed and still invest in those alternative assets. So as soon as I get more results from platform, I will definitely share them in an article on my website that you will just find below the video. So make sure to check this out. So what are my thoughts about Hedonova? It's definitely great to, I would say, finally see some fund that invest solely in what is called alternative assets. So this is something I've been already investing myself for nearly as long as I've been an investor. So it's definitely great to finally see a fund related to that. So they invest again in peer-to-peer lending, real estate crowdfunding, things that I already have for a long time in my portfolio, things that I trust. And then other things like cryptocurrencies, startups, land, wine, art. So really all kind of alternative assets. So again, it's too early to really share results with you. I will definitely share them in the future as I really get results from Hedonova. But for now, if you are looking for a solution where all your funds are actually managed and they actually invest for you and don't want to really even pick platforms to invest in, that really might be a good solution for you. So definitely check out their website. As usual, I put all the links that you will need to learn more about Hedonova. You will find, for example, the link to the platform just below the video. You will also find, as I mentioned before, a link to my site where I review the platform more in details, and also I will share my results there once I get results from the platform. And of course, if you have any questions about Hedonova, about investing in alternative assets, don't hesitate to leave them below the video. And that being said, thank you again for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.